Hey everybody, George here. Before we get into today's talk of terror, I wanted to let you know that now is your chance to be a part of the 4th season of the Halloween Horror Hour. We are officially open for submissions for our next season. So if you have a short film or a music video that you think could make our macabre cut, please send it over. We will have links and details in our episode description, so please check those out if you want to be a part of Season 4 of the Halloween Horror Hour. Thanks, and I hope you enjoy the episode. What is going on, all you ghosts and ghouls? This is George Brandenburg here for the Halloween Horror Pod, and today I'm talking to two people who are experts at something that I've never even had the most basic of introductions to in my life. I'd like to introduce you to Kaitlin Krhounek and Michelle Munoz. They are special effects makeup artists in the wonderful blood-soaked world of horror, and I'm excited to pick your guys' brains. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
So, Kaitlin, let's kick off with some of your credits. We should say we've all worked together on the Halloween Horror Hour, which you can see every season of on YouTube. Season 1 on Tubi, Plex, Roku channel. We're enterprising at this point. It's pretty exciting. And Kaitlin, you've also worked on the films Bad Chemistry, Peekaboo, Bones, and East of the Mountains. Do I have that correct?
Yep.
Great. And then, Michelle, you've also done lots of work on Halloween, specifically with my character. Looking forward to talking about that. And then you also, you labeled your highlights as seemingly innumerable, which low-key brag. But we've got the CCC Horrorverse, several of entries in that. Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th, Vengeance 2, Bloodlines. And the death of Snow White. But as far as I'm understanding, there's more than one Friday the 13th you've worked on, from what I can gather.
Yeah, I also worked on one called Roseblood, which was loosely based on number 7. It had Laura Park Lincoln, and it had, oh gosh, I'm brain farting. Well, you would just have to go look at the credits.
So I'm not entirely sure, how one goes about becoming a makeup artist, a special effects artist. I don't know where that spark begins to be ignited. Michelle, do you want to tell us about how, in your perspective, this all got started for you?
Yeah, well, for me, I've always been a fan of horror. And so, Halloween time, I'm always doing my makeup and, friends and family and things like that. And it just kind of grew from there. More friends wanted me to, hey, can you do this? Sure. I don't know how, but I'll do it. And you end up making it happen. And then more friends are like, hey, I'm doing a photo shoot. Can you do makeup? Sure. Oh, hey, we're doing a music video. Can you do makeup? And it just kind of grew from there. And then suddenly I'm doing short local films, and I don't know, it just kind of snowballed. It wasn't even on purpose.
And then, Kaitlin, how would you say things got started for you in this industry, I suppose?
Oh, since I was a little kid, so I have an older brother who's 10 years older than me, and he was interested in makeup. So when I was very little, I was his model for Halloween. So I, was Bride of Frankenstein and Freddy Krueger and all kinds of stuff. And then, of course, that just sparked my imagination, and I just kind of took off with it. He didn't end up going into that, but is still an amazing artist in his own right. But yeah, since I've, basically been a kid, every Halloween it was always going to be something, we always joked. My mom was like, I don't know what she is this year. She's a dead thing. It's whatever. So it's just something wounded or gory. So yeah, been with me for a long time.
One question I have down the road, but I feel like let's just ask it now. What is your go-to recipe for creating fake blood if you make your own? Especially when you're starting out that young, I feel like you guys know the secret of making fake blood better than anyone.
Yeah, I think most fake blood homemade is the same basic ingredients, just maybe a little bit of tweaks here and there. Mostly corn syrup, some distilled water, chocolate syrup.
Yeah, the Hershey syrup is definitely helpful.
The chocolate syrup. And then, the red, blue, and green, food coloring. You got to get them all in there because there's different tones to your red-looking blood. yeah, you just want to add your colors slowly because you can always add more, but once it's in there, you put too much blue in there, you can't take it out. You're starting your batch over.
Well, you heard it here, people. Watch your blues, all right? Well, let's just get into the professional side of things. Michelle, what was you wrote here? I'm not familiar with this one. A project called Apophenia as your first professional credit. Do you want to tell us how that came about?
Yeah, my friend Amanda was working on a film. I don't know how she got on it, but that's how I first met Ian and Sam. She wanted me to be her makeup assistant. She was running makeup on it. And then I ended up painting a couple of masks as props, which is another thing I really enjoy doing is like painting props. It's just something really fun for me to do. And then I just stayed in touch with these guys and just went on more projects. And then the spider web expanded.
Uh,
And it was really cool though too, because I got to stay in this house, like this trailer in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere. It was really awesome.
I always people who really found pleasure in doing the set work and the work with props. I've always admired those people because maybe it's an ego issue. Whenever I grew up doing a lot of theater and things like that, but all I ever wanted to do was be on the stage and be performing. And if it ever came to doing any background set work, prop work, I was just like a toddler who couldn't sit still. I'd just be like looking at the stage, like bouncing on my toes. So, but
Yeah.
we need prop artists. We need you guys, and I just so glad that you guys are there to make the narcissists like me look incredible. Before we come back around to talking about me and the Halloween Horror Hour, Kaitlin, do you want to tell us your first your start on the small screen, the big screen, wherever it started for you?
Yeah, so back in 2014 or 2015, there was a local artist here that started doing some classes. He's no longer doing makeup, but Seth Wolfson, great guy. Basically, it was a little series of classes, and he was doing one of the 48-hour horror film projects and invited me onto that. So that was my first time on set. It was pretty cool.
That's
Nice.
awesome. We should mention you mentioned that Apophenia was where you met Ian and Sam. They are hosts you will hear if you continue listening to the Halloween Horror Hour. The titular Ian being one of them, and hope you get to know Ian, Sam, Michelle, myself, as well as we know each other now. So looking forward to that going forward. But starting with the Halloween Horror Hour. I was not on set for the first season, but I believe, Michelle, you and I, you star in a sketch that I voiced, and that was the very first thing I ever did that made it to pretty much anything visual in the world. You talk about, it was the cat skit. It was a casket for your cat. I think you acted. You might remember it better than I do.
Um, I no, I don't think that was
Oh,
me.
I'm
Was
sorry.
it?
Oh, nope, you're right. Oh, my goodness, I made a mistake there. I'm going to go ahead and cut that whole part about the cats get out.
That is totally okay. I'm like, wait,
Yeah,
am I
no, I
high?
really thought, I just in my mind, I haven't seen it in like 2 years. I really thought you played the witch in that sketch. I apologize.
Oh no,
Okay.
no,
Oh, that's embarrassing. Well, I'll cut that all out.
no, that's totally okay. You can cut that. You can cut the whole bit. It's totally okay.
Yeah. But we'll come back around the holiday. Let's just talk about Discount Dracula. Okay. So, speaking of the Halloween Horror Hour, I do play a character called Discount Dracula, which the couple years I've done him now would be pretty much impossible to do without you, Michelle. And whatever, you've worked on Friday the 13th, but I think we can all agree that Discount Dracula, probably the pinnacle of your career, correct?
It absolutely, it is probably the best makeup I've ever done.
That, but in all seriousness, though, I when I come to that set, so I live in Alaska, I fly down to Seattle to be a part of that show, and it's getting to work with the makeup crew and you. You guys help me with the ridiculous stuck-on nails, and they're so fun to work with, but also so difficult. What would you say is the most difficult task, and this is for either of you, that you've had to knock out in this profession?
Oh gosh. Well, it's definitely not the fake nails. I would say things that I don't that I have to figure out on the fly that I'm not prepared for.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think like Kaitlin and I were just talking about bald caps over the weekend. Those are difficult to get to look the way you want them to. But those are a little bit difficult. But doing stuff on the fly, working out of kit, not really knowing what you're up against and then figuring it out. But it's also that part of the challenge. I love that.
For sure. And sometimes, like, you're in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere, and it's the middle of the night, so you have absolutely no access to anything else. So you just have to figure it out. That's definitely the hardest part. But it's also, like you said, it's the most fun. Like yesterday, I did apply that bald cap, and I ended up with 2 little holes in it. So I, made sure I saved some of the material that I cut so I could glue it back on and make it work.
Perfect. Yes.
I would love to hear you expand on what happened in the forest that you weren't prepared for, if you could.
Oh, gosh, it's always just like, does anybody have batteries? I don't know. I don't have batteries for this.
Oh, okay.
Like, do you have a headlamp? Wait, who's got a shovel and a machete?
I remember for the character of Discount Dracula I appeared first in the second season that we worked for a really long time on the fake teeth, and we just abandoned them for the character. He just has normal teeth. He's a junky person, which is it's great for the character of Discount because I'm like a shoddy car salesman who calls himself a vampire. But I imagine that oral prosthetics seem like they're almost insurmountable challenge to me.
Yeah, those are pretty difficult because everybody's bite is different. Everybody's teeth fit differently. So, putting on those ones that you kind of mold to the teeth, you have to make sure that the person wearing them can close their mouth and open their mouth without them rubbing on the bottom teeth, and that they can speak and everything like that. And then just having your hands in somebody else's mouth. Sometimes it's easier having somebody else fit their own teeth, but then they don't always stay on. So
yeah, doing that with just things that you buy off the shelf is way harder than if you had a mold of somebody's teeth and you could make it custom.
Yes, that would be the ideal thing.
Yep.
And big surprise, joining the chat, we have the incomparable Alayna Cushing. Welcome to the Halloween Horror Pod.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
With such credits, of course, as the Halloween Horror Hour, The Death of Snow White, and Demonatrix. Apparently also innumerable credits. All our guests today, ladies and gentlemen, have innumerable credits. I'm very jealous. It's very cool. So we were
it's
just
a lot of work, a lot of time.
Yeah. So I was just getting to know our guests here. Alayna, you want to tell us how you got started in the world of professional makeup, special effects artistry?
Yeah, it was actually during COVID that really threw me into it. I had always had a little bit of interest in it. Like growing up, I always loved watching the behind the scenes work and how stuff was made, like the movie magic. And then during COVID, I heard about an opportunity in LA where I could go and do a 9-month intensive course at a makeup school called MUD, Makeup Designery. So I went down there, lived in LA for about a year. I was trained under some very cool people who also have some innumerable credits. And I got the experience that I needed there. And I just that was like my springboard, my platform that I jumped off of to start doing this work.
And that's very cool.
Awesome.
And how did you come to meet these Halloween folks and come into the graveyard gang, so to say?
Oh, man. Halloween was like one of my first jobs when I moved up here to Seattle. And I think it was through a Facebook group that somebody was like, we need a makeup artist. And I put myself out there, and they're a great team to work with. We just have so much fun when we're on set, and they have such fun concepts to work with that I love being on set with them. That anytime they're like, hey, we're going to film this weekend, we need this X, Y, and Z done. It's always just like, I know I'm going to have a good time on set.
I feel the same way. I fly all the way from Alaska just to spend, a day on set, with the whole team. So I hear you loud and clear there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great people.
We were talking about some of the most difficult processes in the art, I guess you could say. I was theorizing that the most difficult thing would be oral prosthetics, fake teeth and the like. Do you have something that comes to mind as the most challenging aspect of this gig?
Teeth is probably a very good one because, like Michelle was saying, everybody's bite is different. You can't just like buy it from somebody and it'll fit everyone. Like it's always a custom fit. So you have to either do like the little melted beads or you have to get a custom mold of your teeth to make whatever dental prosthetics you want. So those ones are quite work intensive.
And just so we're all caught up, what is your go-to recipe for fake blood?
I actually haven't really made a whole lot of my own fake blood. I usually buy, or I just kind of have a stash of blood that I always have on hand.
I have a stash of blood too, but I'm not allowed to talk about it outside of court. Whatever.
We're all friends here.
Yeah. And we were talking about first gigs. Alayna, you listed this as you had a Netflix pitch with Dweezil Zappa?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, so I was about halfway through my school that I went to in LA, and the students there, they try to give the students opportunities to go out and get on set or do like intern work. And so my teacher approached the class and was like, "Hey, we're looking for somebody to do a job. I can't tell you what it is, but we're looking for somebody to do a job. Is anybody interested?" And I raised my hand, and they're like, "All right, we'll get you in contact with the people." And I, start emailing with them, chatting with them. I signed the lovely little NDA at the time, and I roll up to the address, and I remember it was just like this little back alley, like doorway in like a little downtown strip. It was like one door, and it had a small gold plaque on the door that just said Z on it. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it." And so like my first ever time working with somebody was with the Zappas, and it was just like they wanted their faces painted. They wanted to be painted a fun, funky color for this Netflix pitch. And so I painted them their fun little funky color, and
that's so cool.
We went on our way. I was there for maybe like an hour. I chatted with them, very nice people. Crazy studio that we were in. We were in like their family recording studio. So it was like black and white checked floors with like red velvet walls. It was very rock star.
So cool.
That is so cool. And I forgot to mention poor Amit. It's Amit and Dweezil Zappa. I only said one of them. But yes, the Zappas, that's really cool. Another set I'm really curious about, Michelle, you've worked on several Friday the 13th related properties from what it sounds like, but I heard on one of our last sessions that you have a copy of your own head. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. When I was working on Friday the 13th Vengeance Part 2 Bloodlines, I was key makeup, and I was also an actor in that one. I was in a band van with Richie Ramone and some other people, and my character gets decapitated, and so we made a mold of my head, and I got to glue the wig onto it and do the makeup and all that sort of stuff to make it look just like me, and I also got to keep it because it's my head.
Do you have it displayed prominently anywhere?
It's just in one of the bedrooms.
Just one of them. You never are quite sure which one?
I would just kind of put it out on the front lawn sometime, but I don't want like somebody to call the cops. It could happen.
How many times have you been killed by Jason? I've heard it's more than once.
Oh gosh. For photo shoots, I've been killed by him a couple times, but as far as movies, just the once.
Well,
just the once.
Once is enough when it comes to being decapitated by Jason. That is just legendary. Kaitlin, do you want to tell us a bit about Bad Chemistry, since it's kind of a darling of the moment?
Yeah, that was something all three of us got to work on, and that was actually really fun. So that was actually, I think it's out on YouTube now. You can actually check it out.
Now, this is a film from Ian Talent?
Yes, and Michael Wrongley. So, Michelle, do you want to tell everybody a little bit about Blodham?
Oh, well, okay. So you'll see on some of the credits it'll say it's a Blodham film. Way back in the day when we were making a movie called The Need, we needed to have something edible for one actor to grab another one by the throat and like just pull it out. And on the fly, I'm like, well, I have edible blood. Let's just get some lunch meat or something. And they had ham in the fridge. So blood ham was born.
So yeah,
And
we're part of
I love an
Blood
origin
Ham.
story.
yeah, I love that. So that kind of bled into the other projects as kind of like a team name, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was a Bloodham team effort. That was really fun. I think my favorite of, what, the three of us have worked on together. We've done, multiple things, of course, and it's been fantastic. But that was my personal favorite.
Fantastic.
Which one? Bad chemistry or the need?
Bad chemistry.
So I think I only worked on that project like 1 or 2 days. So that one was primarily you and Alayna, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was just Kaitlin and I do remember you being there for maybe 1 day.
I think it was 1 day. Yeah. There's photo proof of us napping on the couch.
Yeah, I remember that. We all fell asleep on each other.
Sometimes it's a hurry up and wait,
Do you guys typically end up getting a lot of the same gigs together, being in this the Seattle filmmaking community?
Yes.
Yeah, we run into each other fairly frequently.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also, like if I'm not available for a project, I will see if one of these two are available to work on it, just kind of network a little bit.
Yeah, Kaitlin and Michelle are usually my go-to, where if I can't make a set, they're like my first recommendations for people.
We love that. We do that for you too.
Thank you.
I love working with all of you guys. You guys are fantastic.
Speaking of releases this year, theatrical run for Death of Snow White. Alayna, I know you worked on it. Did you guys, anyone else work on that movie as well?
Michelle was there with us.
Yeah.
You guys want to tell me about the Death of Snow White and your experience doing that?
Oh, it was so much fun. It was so cool to be a part of it.
How did it all come about?
It was a huge. So I am part of a makeup and effects company called Real Fiction Studios, and it's Jason and Naomi who are the owners, and then I'm the co-founder, and then we have a couple of other people on the team. Well, Jason and Naomi wrote Death of Snow White and put together, a team and hired a bunch of people. Anyways, made this movie come to life, and it took about 5 to 6 months prior to filming to build like all the props and the dead bodies and all the things. And we filmed it in about 5 weeks, and it was out in theaters for I think 3 or 4 weeks, something like that.
Limited
now,
release
yeah.
or wide release?
It was just a few, like 4 theaters, I think.
I was
also too. So
looking up where people
fun.
could watch it. I should start giving credits to these. Almost everything we mentioned you can catch on YouTube. And the Death of Snow White, it looks like you can rent from YouTube as well, but also Apple TV, Fandango at home. You name it, you're going to find it. That's pretty cool, guys.
I think it's free on Tubi right now.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any upcoming projects that anyone should keep their eyes open to? I know that because you guys are so busy, is there anything you're able to let me know about?
The Demonatrix film that I worked on just had its first premiere in New York, and it's having its Seattle, Washington premiere in April, I believe, April 11th at the SIF Theater.
Awesome.
And then it should be released on streaming platforms soon after that.
That's rad.
Michelle, do you have anything in the pipeline?
Nothing right now. I'm kind of in between stuff right now, which is fine because I need to breathe occasionally.
Kaitlin, do you have anything?
Worked on the bald cap that I applied was for a potential TV pilot that's going to maybe be pitched to Amazon, so we'll see on that. But otherwise, earlier in the month, I got to do the 48-hour film project for the city producers, so that was cool. I'm not sure exactly when that's going to come out, but that's going to be very cool to see.
It's awesome.
What would you say, and we'll start with Alayna again. First thing that comes to mind, what's probably the coolest prop, bit, thing you've done that you've worked on that you can think of?
I know I just mentioned it, but probably the Demonatrix again, because that one was like a whirlwind from the get-go. So I'm at like my normal 9 to 5 job, and I get a phone call from somebody that I know in LA, and they're like, "You live in Seattle, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Can you be on set right now? You need to go and apply a Norman Cabrera monster." And I was like, "What?" If you guys don't know who Norman Cabrera
Yes,
is,
please.
he is the makeup artist, and he did the sculpt for Hellboy. He's also worked on Guillermo del Toro's Cabinets of Curiosity, Men in Black. Like, he has so many like well-known feature films that he's been a part of that I personally love and admire. And so when they're like, "You need to go do a Norman Cabrera monster," I was like,
You're like,
"I'm
yes,
on it."
please.
So I turned to my boss. I was like, "I'm leaving for the day." I went home, grabbed my stuff, showed up to set that day, and I applied a Norman Cabrera monster for the next 3 days
That's
on this
amazing.
set. And it was so cool.
That's
So
awesome.
that's probably like the coolest and like one of my current favorite projects that I've been a part of.
Nice.
Excellent. Michelle, how about you?
Well, I'm sorry. What was the
Oh,
question?
yeah, good point. Michelle, what would you the first thing that come to mind? What's probably the coolest thing that you've done in this job? That I know you have your own severed head, but even if it's that, what comes to mind?
I mean, that's pretty cool. I think working on the Death of Snow White, since it was such a big production with so many moving parts. I mean, one of the makeups we did was like a full body. It took like 6 or 8 hours or something to do this full body makeup on one of the actresses, or Evil Witch.
And that was with like 3 makeup artists working on her.
I think it was more than that. It was. I think there was probably at least 4 of us working on that at once. I mean, it was a lot. I don't
Yeah, there was
remember
a
a lot of
handful
it.
of us.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Well, when you say when there's a team working together, again, I don't know anything about this profession. When you guys kind of assemble like a NASCAR pit crew, what are sort of the delineations of jobs when you have multiple people working together like that?
Oh gosh, you'll have like one person could be applying the prosthetics, having an assistant with that. You can have another person playing a bald cap, another person painting the skin, making pustules and all kinds of things like that.
It's kind of like we all section off, like we all just kind of like call out like, "Okay, I can do this, I can do that." And then we'll kind of
Right.
like verbally agree upon like a color scheme. "Okay, I've got these colors in my palette. This is what I'm going to stick with. What are you guys going to stick with?" So that way it's all cohesive. But then we just kind of call our quadrant and it all works somehow.
Yeah.
Do you guys?
Yeah, and we do that on like Halloween too, because there's a new character, the a lycanthrope,
I think
lycanthrope.
lycanthrope,
Okay.
werewolf guy.
And yeah. So like one of us is painting and the other one is applying moss, and just like, okay, I'll take this hand, and you take that side of the head or whatever.
Yeah, I would love to hear off the top of your head. What's the coolest thing you've done in this gig?
The coolest thing for me, I've only worked on one feature film thus far. Everything else has been a lot of small projects, which is, typically what you get for Seattle. But I got to work on a project called East of the Mountains. So that was back in 2019. It was before COVID. But that was starring Tom Skerritt and Mira Sorvino. So I actually got to drive out to Eastern Washington, got put up in a hotel for a few days, got to go out on set in the east of the mountains, essentially. I remember somebody caught a rattlesnake. That was really cool. But that was getting to work with Tom was very cool. Obviously, he's a very seasoned actor, Top Gun, Alien. But that was the coolest experience I've had thus far.
That's awesome.
It wasn't horror or anything,
That was
but
cool.
I actually got to work on the dog. So there's a dog in the story. And I am a vet tech, and actually so is Michelle. But that was a cool meeting of worlds where I got to work on the dog and do makeup at the same time.
I was going to say, what do you do for a dog?
Basically,
when you're
it
on
was
set?
a white and orange. So basically, I had to get like various types of blood so that we could figure out, what showed up best on camera, what didn't stain the dog the best. It was basically a neck wound the dog gets in a fight.
Oh, that makes
But that
sense.
was really cool. And there was a dummy dog too that I got to apply it on and got to work with the real dog.
In your
Nice.
in your experience doing makeup work for animals, how patient? Well, I guess it varies dog to dog. I don't know how much experience you have working with animals, but I imagine mine would not like sitting still for any sort of makeup to be applied to it.
Yeah, this was a professional.
This was a professional dog.
Actor dog, yes. He's a very good dog. It's very patient, but also, when in this business, working with kids or animals are definitely going to be the toughest clients to sit you'll have for sure.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. And while we're talking tools of the trade, we mentioned, when you guys have to team up and you're all working together to conquer the same task together. Your toolkit, do you guys essentially carry around all the same things, or what would you say as far as the weaponry you wield?
For me, I've got like a beauty section that has all the stuff for beauty makeup, and then I have an everything else section, which is prosthetics and paints and like airbrush stuff, and also like supplies like zip ties and tape, aluminum foil, fishing line, armature wire. You never know when these things are needed, and you wouldn't think by being in makeup that you would need these things, but I do find that a lot of these, hey, does anybody have any chicken wine? Why, yes, I do. So it always helps just to have like a whole bunch of stuff that you think you're not going to need and bring it every time, because if you leave it at home, you will need it.
Yeah, that's always how it works. And people on set just kind of expect the makeup artist to be like Mary Poppins with our kit.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
They think that we can pull anything out of it at any time. So it is good to just have an amalgamation of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's always a lot of stuff to drag to set. At least I know for me, I've got like a rolling kit. I've got 2 different bags. I've also got one, like a whole toolkit that I can bring and roll on. But there's so many pieces to the puzzle. There's glues and powders and your brushes, and your different types of paints, your bloods and things for things like sweat, and a kit is a big amalgamation of all of those things. And yeah, it can be a bit of a hassle to drag around, but yeah, you often need it. And because we are asked, to pull so many things, we just carry that many things.
I imagine that it must take a fair amount of trial and error to know what you need and don't need. And that sounds too nerve-wracking for me, because I don't know the first thing about makeup, but is that a fair assumption?
Yes.
Yeah. Just bring everything. Like the times that it's like I think I'm only doing like beauty makeup, so I leave everything else at home. Always somebody needs blood. So I just keep the blood in my car at all times. I always have blood in my car. Always. And
got
also
a gallon of blood in my trunk all the time.
Yeah, you got to have the blood. And cleaning supplies is a big thing too. You got to have a lot of cleaning supplies and just have them on you all the time. Paper towels, makeup wipes, handy wipes. We run out of those things, I think, more than most other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Michelle said, it's always like, oh, I'm only doing like aesthetic work today. Like I'm not going to be doing any beauty. I'm just doing monsters, right? So I take all of my special effect side of my kit to set, and then inevitably somebody approaches me and they're like, hey, this extra needs makeup done. Do you have your beauty? And I'm like, man,
I'll just make it work with my wound palette, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, and you make it
punched in the eye.
You manage to make it work one way or another.
Well, and then too, there are so many different products out there. Like we all kind of coalesce the things that we like the best. So one of the great parts of getting to work together is, asking each other questions and like, hey, I have this palette, or okay, great, we both have this palette. Let's work from this. But somebody can say, hey, I do this thing this way, and this is a little tip here. So it's always a learning experience too.
Yeah, I always learn from other people. What I always covet things in other people's kits. I was like, ooh, I love that. Where'd you get it? I need one. That's it's kind of like window shopping in a way.
Yeah.
I will actually take pictures of other people's setups, because when we set up, we usually take up like a whole table because we pull out all of our palettes and brushes and whatever. And I'll take pictures of other people's setups that I like, because I'm like, ooh, that's a good way to store my brushes, or this is a good way to do this. Or that's a nice product. And I'll just I'll take pictures.
Yeah. Yep.
Other artists lend inspiration all the time.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I can't thank you enough for giving me some insight into this world. Again, I'm a get out of the shower and go guy. I don't think I've ever done my own foundation. I think you guys are the only people to really ever help me out with that. But I wouldn't be able to be the best discount Dracula I could be if it wasn't for you guys. And you mentioned how people on set, they think of you as Mary Poppins. And I think I was taking you guys for granted. You guys are like superheroes with your utility belts of magic. And so
Thanks.
we all sincerely thank you for what it is that you do. And I look forward to everyone's continued success. Like I said in our previous credits, there's many ways you can catch the work that everyone here is doing on the Halloween Horror Hour. All 3 seasons available now on YouTube. Season 1 available on Tubi, Plex, and the Roku channel. But you can also see their work in films, short films, features such as Bad Chemistry, Peekaboo, Bones, The East Mountain, Dominatrix. I love this title. I just have to say it again because I love saying it. Friday the 13th, Vengeance, Part 2, Bloodlines. And, of course, The Death of Snow White. Let's tell the people where they can find your work, how they can find you, yada, yada. Kaitlin, do you have socials to plug or how they can follow your work?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, and then I also have my Instagram, Kaitlin.K_SFX.
And Michelle, how can people find your work?
I am on Facebook and Instagram. I also have my IMDb. I also can be found for contact on the Real Fiction Studios page as well. But I am online as Michelle of the Dead.
And then Alayna, how can people find you?
I am mostly on Instagram. It is sfx.mua.Alayna. That's my Instagram. I'm on Facebook, not nearly as much, and I also have an IMDb.
And let me say everyone's full name again. That is Alayna Cushing, Kaitlin Krhounek, and Michelle Munoz, or Michelle O. the Dead. I have an O, like O'Hara, O. Scarlet.
Yeah, I am kind of Irish a little bit.
Ever so slightly. Well, guys, I really appreciate you taking the time to be here to kind of talk the craft with me a little bit, and I look forward to working with you guys in the future on the Halloween Horror Hour. Thank you for everything you do.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you next time on the Halloween Horror Pod.